My mom's ex asked me to let him date me. TD, LR, went out of town for a year, and when I came back my mom's ex developed feelings for me and asked me to date him. I declined but never told anyone about it. This happened a few years ago when I F24 was 19. My mom 45 now, dated this really nice and supportive guy, we'll call Jim 45 to 50 then, for around 2 years. I met him when I was 17. Mom started dating this new guy she met through a friend of her, and besides his job he was a jiu-jitsu teacher. By that time I was eager to start any kind of martial arts, so she asked him if I could train with him. Almost a year go by and I moved to live with my aunt and study to college, trying to enter a public faculty. In my country they're very good and everywhere. When I returned my mom wasn't dating Jim anymore, but they were still friends and he was helping her with some legal troubles of undoing a partnership with their mutual friend who scammed my mom. Here's where the troubles began. Jim used to be like a paternal figure for me since he dated my mom and helped us a lot, and my father lived 17 hours distant and had his wife, and my new brother was a newborn when we met. But when I came back to my mom's house to go to college he was a bit different. Initially I believed it was due to the year long without contact. Then he started inviting me to lunch and brought me gifts saying it was for my birthday. He never did here before. In one of these lunches he told me he was confused about how he felt about me and asked me to dinner so we could talk more about it, and he wanted to ask me something. So, being naive as I could, I said yes, even though this was weird as fuck. Dinner night comes and again he says to no tell my mom or brother, and silly me does just that cause I didn't want to stress them about it and was afraid of how bad they could react and possible being guilted for all that was happening. He's respectful through all the talking and tells me how I'm mature, how I came back different, but today I fucked up and more like a woman. Then he says how he want to be by my side and support me in pursuing my dreams and say it can be in whatever way I feel more comfortable with, but he wanted me to think of him as a partner and someone I can rely on. When I asked if it was something like a boyfriend he said that he was more serious than that. I politely declined and told him I wasn't comfortable with that and didn't think it could ever work. Got back home scared like hell of anybody in my family finding out about it and how I would be screwed if they did find out, confused and lost trying to figure how the hell things ended up like this. So, today I finally talked about it with somebody, my therapist, and he made me realize how disgusted and betrayed and mad I really was with this. He suggested me to tell my mom about it, but I don't believe this could go well and I'm truly afraid of how bad she can react or what she could do. But I needed to vent. So here I am. Does anyone here ever went through something similar? What did you do when it happened? How should I deal with this shit? Cause I thought I was over it, but shit never gets any better. Any advice is very welcome right now. Peace, sorry for formatting, typed on cell phone but English is not my first language. Edit, a lot of people asked. He's not around anymore. After mom resolved the situation with their mutual friend their contact dropped lot. I know they used to have lunch to talk every now and then but it stopped eventually. To this day I believe they still have each other's contact but they're not in touch anymore. For the people who agree that I should talk to my mom, I'm not sure of it because I'm insecure about her reaction. My mom tends to react explosive to situations that aren't as serious as this one. She also tends to overshare with family and distort the things that were said to her, and I wouldn't be okay if this ended up becoming a family topic. Some of you pointed that it could be happening to more people since he's a martial arts teacher. When I started training with him there usually were 2 to 4 other women training, all of them 4 to 7 years older than me. I was the youngest one. Besides me there were only one underage student, was a boy 12 yo. When I came back 1 year later I was the only girl training there for most of the times, eventually would have one more woman there, but it wasn't common. You need to tell your mom. He might have started dating her to get close to you, evidently. He literally asked you to keep it secret. That's predatory AF. She has a right to know, so she won't disclose information to him about you by accident, and will stay away from him herself. That's creepy and disgusting and he should know better. Cut him out and do what you need to stop him from getting close to you again. I am so sorry you had to go through that must have been so hard. The best advice I can give you is to tell someone you trust, which could be a friend, your mum, brother, etc. You have to know that you didn't do anything wrong, so you have nothing to be scared of, and if the person you tell reacts badly, then it's their fault, not yours. Not talking about it will just hold you back and make you feel like you did something wrong when you didn't. Also, I don't want to worry you, but he might take your rejection badly and tell people that you're the one who came on to him. He never said anything and neither did I. But I do think my mom could blame me for not telling anything to her, and back then I thought she might think I did that intentionally. I tried telling a friend of mine back then, but he didn't take it seriously and said it was no big deal since I'm a woman and he's a man. I haven't had this experience though. I just wanted to validate your feelings. What he did, how he went about it, was all wrong, and you have every right to feel the way you do about it. I'm so sorry you went/are going through this. The man seriously sounds like a predator, like the kind of man who would date a woman with kids to get to the child. You have every right to feel mad and disgusted. I've had two of my mom's exes do this, and one turned out to be a pedophile. Yes, he's actually in prison, and this is gross and creepy. Tell your aunt and your mom. They will believe you. My husband is playing video games plus 16 hours a day. So my husband isn't working right now, for reasons outside of his control. I'm still working and am very busy. We are both quarantined at home together. For the past 2 weeks he's been playing video games for more than 16 hours a day. I am not exaggerating, I am simply calculating based on how many hours he has logged since getting 3 new games a couple weeks ago. Our house is a mess, and every time I want to spend time with him, suddenly he has all these things he has to do. Phone calls, laundry, dishes, but he never does them until I ask for a pause in the game to spend time together. He's going through a lot right now, and I'm not trying to be needy, but it feels pretty frustrating that I managed to find time for him in my very busy schedule, but he won't do the same. I brought this up to him, and he reminded me that we walked to Starbucks 2 days ago and that we went grocery shopping together yesterday. He told me he will not cut down on his video game time, and he will not adjust his schedule. What do I do? We rarely ever have problems. It's been pretty smooth sailing for all the years before this. He's entering a depressed phase. I've been there. When I lost a job, I played video games constantly or went out and drank with friends a lot, avoiding my GF until she made it enough of a point for me to realize what I was doing, because I was just happier being alone, doing my own thing, while it was nothing personally against her. Video games are his escape, as they were mine too for a while. But he also needs to remember he has a relationship and still needs to focus on that too, along with keeping your household normal and clean. Also, with all this COVID stuff, there are other jobs out there. He may need to start searching again. Clearly he is dealing with the anxiety and depression of having no purpose or job in an unhealthy way. Since he refuses to change his behavior, all you can do is hope things improve when the quarantine is over and he gets a new job. At some point you're going to have to give him an ultimatum and be strong enough to follow through if he still refuses. Given all the stress people are under due to COVID though, I'd lean towards giving him more time until this shit is over. I've got an odd suggestion for you. See if you can convince to try out streaming his games on Twitch. 2 things. First, if he goes for it, he'll feel like he's actually doing something. Second, streaming a game is a lot more work than people think, and it may help push him away from the games when he's not streaming, as he would likely want a break after. I've been where he has, excluding the marriage part. Ever feel like a failure? Want to be good at something? Don't have a lot of friends and want to hang out with people online? Video games. If he is anything like me, what encourages him to keep gaming is to get better. If he wants to stop, he has to find something else to do. For me, I stop playing video games when school starts, and my life starts up again. As others have said, video games are his escape, and you/phone/laundry/dishes represent the real world that he is having trouble facing. You pull him back to reality for a moment and then oh shit, look at all the things reality needs him to do. One idea you might want to try is to find a different way to escape together with him. Netflix. It won't get the house clean, but maybe a way that you two don't have to be so alone. I, 21M, gave my girlfriend, 20F a ring, explicitly saying it's a promise ring, but she now saying we're married to her friends, family and me. My girlfriend, 20F, and I, 21M, have been dating for almost 2 years now, and I've honestly been super happy with her. We've had some rough patches here and there, but overall, everything has been going good. I recently graduated college, and after months of struggling in this COVID-19 super competitive job market, I finally got a job offer. The only thing is that it would require me to move a 3-hour drive away from my girlfriend once the office reopens. Obviously, that isn't the most ideal, but we both understand that I can't be too picky about my job situation right now, and some distance couples deal with way worse. Knowing that we won't be able to see each other nearly as often, I got my girlfriend a promise ring. I thought it was a nice and romantic gesture, and it would give her something to remind her of me when I'm not around. When I gave it to her, I explicitly told her it was a promise ring to help with the distance. I could tell it meant a lot to her, and we spent that night together basically talking about how much we're going to miss each other, but we'll get through it. The next day, I saw that she posted the ring on her social media with not much context, and all her friends were congratulating her. Some of our mutual friends and her family reached out to me basically congratulating me too. When I confronted her about all this, she told me that we're married in her head. I don't know what to do. We've talked about our future, like moving in together and getting a puppy, but I've always said to wait talking about marriage until we move in together, especially since I just don't feel ready and feel too young. She's brought up marriage a few times throughout our relationship, but I admittedly been very dodgy about it. But now that I have her family and friends thinking that I proposed to her, I really just don't know how to address the situation. I don't feel ready at all to propose, but now it feels like I basically did in the perspective of everyone else, and I'm honestly worried our relationship may not be the same if I don't handle this delicately. Isn't the whole point of a promise ring that you're promising to marry someone later on? I mean, I get that she's making things weird, but if you're not ready to even think about marriage yet, why on earth would you give her a promise ring? This seems like a situation that could easily have been avoided. Yes, when the ring is worn, it suddenly unfolds unexpected, dangerous powers. There is a film about it. But seriously, now you know what she wants. And unfortunately you have to tell her quite clearly what you want. Otherwise she'll go on like this. Well, it's his fault for buying her something so precious. Lamau bra, what does the ring look like? I have no advice, but I have to know. Hey GF, you know how much I love you and want to make you happy. That's why I gave you the promise ring, as a symbol of how I feel, and for you to look at it and think of me. I don't want people thinking that it is an engagement ring for a few reasons. One is I am not ready to be engaged yet, and when the time comes that we do get engaged, it won't feel as special. Can we clear this up before people start asking us when the wedding is? I don't know. Something like this. I think what you did was sweet, and she really should have cleared things up right away. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind stranger/s. Okay, I come from a culture of people who do promise rings. Culturally, the giving of a promise rings means I promise to propose to you. It acts like a precursor to an engagement ring. If her family and friends come from the same culture of promise rings I did, then giving her a promise ring is akin to giving someone an engagement ring. And giving her a promise ring while calling it a promise ring, but then saying that you aren't ready for the commitment a promise ring entails, is like giving someone an engagement ring and then being surprised that they think it means that you will get married one day. If her family and friends come from the same culture of promise rings I did, and given your age, giving her a promise ring is akin to giving someone an engagement ring, but saying that you just thought it was a nice idea. Correct the misunderstanding quickly. If it's of any consolation, where I come from, people give and take back promise rings all of the time. So it wouldn't be that big of deal to renege if you suddenly find yourself unready. Even in my culture in the dead center of America, a promise ring is just a junior engagement ring. Ops GF's thought process isn't that nutty. You don't give a promise ring to the chick you simply enjoy fucking. Op made it clear their relationship is next level. Maybe she took it too far, but still. Can't be like here's a promise ring but lol marriage scary.